opens eyes? Do you believe in a God that tells you lies, or do you believe in me? Do you believe in a God that brings you down? Do you believe in a God that wears the crown? Do you believe in a God that makes you bow, or do you believe in me? Do you believe in a God that satisfies? Do you believe in a God that opens eyes? Do you believe in a God that tells you lies, or do you believe in me? Do you believe in a God that brings you down? Do you believe in a God that wears the crown? Do you believe in a God that makes you bow, or do you believe in me?
It's Beyond Common Sense. It's Lanny Sense with Lanny Swerdlow, KCAA's resident gay, woke, liberal, pot-smoking, race-mixing, tree-hugging, left-handed, science-affirming, Jewish, humanist, atheist, a white evangelical Christian nationalist, worst nightmare. Well, welcome to today's show. I hope you are having a wonderful day. And now that you're listening to the show, you're going to have a wonderful day for sure. We've got a great show. With us in the studio is Lanny Swerdlow, me, and our resident curmudgeon, Sam Clowder, and our resident filmmaker, Gregory Franklin. And hopefully we're going to have a couple people call in too, and maybe you'd like to be one of them. One of them, the numbers to call is 909-383-1000, 909-383-9000. Now I've got to ask Eric, our engineer, something. Eric, I'm hearing echoes. Is there something I can do about that? Ah, I see that. Okay. I'll try that. Let's see what happens. I will turn that off. Yes, that did the trick. Thank you, Eric. That's why you're paid the big bucks, because you know what to do to solve problems. We're doing we used to use Skype and we've moved on to a new one, and we're kind of learning how to manipulate it. And last week we had all kinds of problems when we were trying to bring a William from Colombia in here to talk. And so we're trying to limit it. Hopefully we're going to get it solved, and we'll have William next week to tell us about cannabis in Colombia and what's going on there with the horrid drug war and the whole bit and the major changes that one nation has gone through lately. But before I get started with the show, I just want to do a little mea culpa. That's right. Yesterday, I put out a broadcast, webcast, podcast, whatever, a whole bunch of email lists and all this kind of stuff. A statement which was titled "Dems Don't Have to Wait Until 2026 to Regain Control of Congress." And I had this brilliant idea of how they could do that. And so I wrote, if the country goes into recession, especially coupled with stagflation, which many economists believe is going to happen, people will correctly blame President Trump and the Republicans in Congress who didn't stop his disastrous tariffs and economic policies. People cannot afford to wait until 2027 to have the economy turn around. Dems should start planning now to begin a recall of all vulnerable Republican senators and congressional representatives. A successful recall of 4 Republican senators and 5 Republican representatives is all it would take to put the Dems back in control of Congress and end the horrendous power grab of Trump. Well, you know what? I really screwed up on that, and I had to sit and issue a mea culpa today. And here's what I wrote about it, because I was absolutely wrong. I wrote, I am so embarrassed by the recent missive I sent out entitled "Dems Don't Have to Wait Until 2026 to Regain Control of Congress." I published this before I had done the background research I should have done. As it turns out, that the Dems will have to wait until 2026 elections to take control of Congress, as the U.S. Constitution does not provide for recall of any elected federal officials. Although some state constitutions have stated that their citizens have the right to recall members of the U.S. Congress, the U.S. Supreme Court has not ruled on whether this is constitutional at the federal level. I just assumed that if you can recall on the state level, you can recall on the federal level. Just goes to show what happens when you assume. As it turns out, there are 39 states that have provisions allowing for recall of certain elected officials at the state and local level, but there are actually only 19 states that allow the recall of elected state officials. I apologize for sending out this misinformation and want to set the record straight so no one spreads misinformation because of something I wrote. I take full responsibility for this totally inaccurate post. When I make a mistake and put out false information, I want to correct it as soon as possible. I hope you will forgive me for this lapse of judgment and due diligence. But it's a fascinating subject, recall elections. And if you want more information, Ballotpedia has a wonderful thing on the internet. So go to Ballotpedia and put in recall elections and read what they have to say. They even have a rundown of federal Supreme Court cases on this. Anyway, I made a mistake. I'm sorry, and I'll
I
make sure
was
I do my research more. Yes, Gregory.
I was one of the people who got these messages in my email, and I did want to say two things about it. First, thank you for making the correction. I mean, it's the right thing to do, and of course, I know you to want to do the right thing. The other thing is that this is one of the differences between liberals and conservatives in today's politics. When conservatives learn that something that they're saying is not true, they keep saying it anyway. And liberals generally, I'm generally speaking, and liberals will generally, once they find out that something that they're saying isn't true, they will admit it and stop saying it.
Yeah, well, we have a
Yeah.
president who has set the tone for being the ultimate liar, uh,
Exactly.
you read all these things, lie after lie after lie after lie after lie after lie after lie, and you think people would just begin it, but his followers just accept every one of them, and he'll never admit, never admit that he said something that was
Can
wrong.
can I get a word in here real quick?
Sure, of
Can we
course.
rewind? Let's rewind.
Rewind.
Yes, I want to point out that the difference between a republic and a democracy is that a republic lets everybody make their own laws. Every state makes their own damn laws. A democracy would mean the entire nation follows the same laws. And this is what's bleeped about the United States. Notice I didn't say America because America is North, Central, and South. The U.S. does not have a monopoly on being Americans. But the United States is a republic. It is not a democracy. And this is the problem with the United States, that it allows a scam artist like Trump to take advantage of it. The only reason that the U.S. Supreme Court has not ruled on that is because it's never been brought up to the U.S. Supreme Court. There are some states that allow a recall of congressional representatives and United States senators, but there are plenty that don't. And this is what's wrong with the United States. There isn't a single standard across the nation. There are multiple standards, and that's why Trump can get by with what he's getting by with.
And it's also because we're there, we're federalist, and which kind of makes it different. I wonder if we had a parliament like Canada does or United Kingdom does, where we elect the prime minister instead of a president, how much different things would be that way. And be an interesting conversation. Hey, we've got two people, two of our regulars on the phone, and we're going to bring them in right now. First is our intrepid woman reporter and agitator, Linda Salas. Linda, welcome back to the show again. And also here is our on again, off again resident statistician who knows just everything about everything, and that is Chris Coppe. Chris, welcome to the show again as well. Are you guys there? Uh-oh. Eric, what's happening, Eric? You said they were on the line.
I'm on the line.
You are on the line, yes, Linda. Chris, are you on?
Yeah, I'm here, but I don't know if I'm on the line.
Hey, Chris.
Hey, Lanny, I wanted to know, do you know which states allow the recall of radio hosts?
Which
Oh, Rachel Maddow?
Rachel, She wasn't recalled. She was just demoted
Reduced.
to one show a week.
Yeah.
The rising star is not riding so much anymore. Hey, Eric, I've got the listening off stage turned off, but I'm getting an echo again. Hey, if everybody who's on here, if you think it says listen off stage feeds, could you turn that off? Then we'll stop getting this echo.
Lanny,
Okay. Yes.
I'm not sure if I put earphones on that you'll be able to hear me. But there's one point I want to make to your email, and that is that some states are having special elections. So to focus on getting Democrats in to those special elections. I don't know if they're happening in 2026 or between now and then.
Linda, do you have your speakers on? You'll need to put your headsets on because that's what's causing me. I'm pretty sure.
Oh, okay. Okay. Let me. Okay. I wanted to put my iPod pods or whatever on, but.
Okay. Now there you go. I think it's.
Okay. You can hear me now?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay.
All right. Very good. All right. I'll have to live with
special elections.
Yeah.
Those are times where we might be able to make some impact and make some changes if we could get Democrats in.
Yeah. There is special elections, and sometimes we win them and sometimes we lose them. But there's not enough going on. You're having trouble hearing me? Go ahead back to what you're doing because I'm not hearing the echo anymore. So whatever you did is good.
I lost you.
Uh-oh,
Did you lose me, Linda?
No, I got you.
You only lost me. Well, then you're not losing much.
I'm outside.
No. I lost Lanny too. I can't.
Oh my, you lost me.
All I'm hearing is you.
You hear me now? Okay. Can you hear me, Linda?
Okay, Lanny's there.
Okay.
At least I'm me.
All right. Hey, listen. I want to ask Chris something because you're a specialist in this. We just had.
There's still a reverb.
What?
There's still a reverb.
Echo.
Okay. Let's see. Eric, what do we do to get rid of this, Eric? People, if you're using speakers instead
Each one
of
of us has to
headphones,
make that change, Lanny.
Yeah, you have to.
I did
put
it
your
myself. It's in the
I
settings.
Okay. I took my speaker
Your hamburger menu at the bottom. Click on that. And then turn off listen off stage feeds.
This is Gregory. Do you have headphones?
No.
Oh.
Neither do I.
Well, you're on the telephone. It's not a problem. It's Gregory. Can you turn your speakers off for a moment? Let's see if that solves the problem. Let's see if that does that solve the problem? No, it doesn't solve the problem. Oh my gosh. Well, we'll just have to continue as we can. I hope the listeners are not hearing this echo. Eric, do you have any suggestions? Eric? Hello? Oh, all right. I guess Eric's no.
Well, while you got a moment, there's still a reverb. I don't know who hasn't done the.
Sam, you're
working on it right now, Lanny. Sorry about that.
What was that?
Okay.
What are you doing, Eric?
My ear pods on.
Eric said he's working on it.
He's working on it. Okay. I hope the listeners are not hearing this. Sam, you had someone want to say?
Yeah, but I'm not going to speak while that reverb's on.
Oh, okay. Hey, Chris, let me ask you something. Maybe you won't have too bad reverb. You are an expert on horse racing. Tell us all about the Kentucky Derby and why it was so special.
Why it was so special?
Yeah. Are you there, Chris? Oh boy. I don't hear my echo anymore, so that's good. But we don't hear Chris
All right.
anymore. That's not
All right.
good.
Before you go to the Kentucky Derby, I'd like to
Yeah,
make
you're
a
okay now,
comment
Sam.
about all this suggestion. I would like to challenge everybody to explain to me why you have faith that the Democrats are going to do something now and in the future that they haven't done in the last 50 years. And I want to qualify by saying that I have spent hundreds of thousands of hours and hundreds of thousands, no, millions of dollars on behalf of the Democratic Party in California and progressive issues. Now, I'd like to hear why you think the Democrats are going to do anything more than get elected and try to maintain the status quo, because that's where their problem comes from. That's why Trump was elected, because the Democrats offered status quo. So please explain to me why you, Lanny, and Gregory, and the other two guests have any more faith that the Democrats are going to do anything different in the future. Please
Well, one
give
of the
me
reasons
a reason to have hope and faith again.
because the Republicans are not going to do anything different, and the Democrats are really the only other show in town. And so, those of us who are working with the Democrats, we're hoping to change it to do those things. Now, we may not succeed. We may not succeed, but there's nothing else we can work at that has the power to do that. And so, we're working where the power is. And hopefully, we will make. There's a lot of Democrats that want to change things and want to make things different. We just have to get them into power, get them elected, and
No,
that's what we're
no, they
working
can't
on.
get into
Trying to
power
get them,
without a message. They
trying to get
cannot get into power without a message. And that's what all the analysts on
we no
TV and
we have
everybody who's got a legitimate brain says. The Democrats do not yet have a message that's
well
going
that
to get them
we are
reelected. Now,
working on
look,
getting we are working on getting that message together. That's
well,
right.
fine.
We don't
When you
and,
do,
and,
when you do,
but
we'll reconsider the issue. But I
all
want to
right,
tell you, the reason
then you
Hillary did not get
Sam,
elected
listen.
was
You
because
stay
she
Sam,
represented the status quo.
you stay on
The
the
reason
sideline.
the reason Biden did I mean,
Sam,
the reason that the vice president did not get elected because she represented the status quo. I am
Sam,
not pleased with the status quo that the Democrats established. I want to see
Sam.
more progressiveness.
All right, that's right. Right. So, Sam, you stand on the sidelines and you throw your brickbats while people like Linda and myself and Gregory
I'm
and
not
other and
standing on the sidelines. I don't live in the U.S. anymore because of Trump and
would
the
you let me
Democrats.
finish before interrupting me, please? Will you let me finish
Yeah,
before
sure.
interrupting me, please? I said, you stand on the sidelines, and people like myself and Linda and the other Democrats, especially young Democrats that are working to get this new message out there and to get people who are elected to push this new message out there, like AOC, for example, uh, take over the party. But there is no other political party. There is no other organization that has the standing and the possibility of getting the power to overcome what's going on in the country right now. The
I totally
only
agree.
group
That's
is
why I was a Democrat for 50
that's
years. I
and
wasn't a
that is
Democrat because I
that
wanted to
and so
be.
and that is why we are working with the Democratic Party, because we have no other choice. Now, if there's enough of us in the Democratic Party that are doing it, we're going to succeed. But we're not going to succeed if we don't work at it. And we're working at it as
But
best we can. And we are making some progress. Look at the wonderful crowds that have been turning out for Bernie Sanders and AOC.
that's
We are
different.
make we
Hey,
are
I've
making
told you the only ones I listen to are AOC and Bernie.
that's right.
They're the
And
only ones I
hopefully,
take.
and
I don't
hopefully,
even take emails from
and
anybody
more and
anymore
more and
except
more
them.
and more people will start listening, hopefully, but they're not going to listening to them if we don't get out there and work to get the message out there that we want to get
But
out there. So I'm not
they
going to.
are in an extreme minority. The majority of Democrats are opposed to them, and they isolate them. And there's now another reverb.
I beg to differ. I'm not sure a majority of Democrats are opposed to them. I
Well,
think a
watch
majority of
CNN and
Democrats.
MSNBC
I
and
would.
Fox News more
I,
and see what they actually say,
I would
because
say
that's what
that
they're saying.
the majority of Democrats are sitting on the sidelines, which is unfortunate. We need them to get active, and that's what we're working on. Did somebody else have something to say? Because I heard an echo going in there.
I do. I
Yeah,
I, I just did a piece on this yesterday on the View from Out Here on YouTube, and I'm of the mind that it's already too late to save democracy. Donald Trump is the dictator of the United States, and this has been the culmination of something that the Republican Party has been working on since Richard Nixon said, "If the president does it, it's not illegal." And going through, when you look at all of the Republican presidents since, each one of them have moved that concept of the presidency being a unitary executive thing further and further, and then into this whole mix in 2024 comes Donald Trump, convicted criminal, and he doesn't have any conscience about the whole thing about laws and all that. He intended to be a dictator the whole time. I mean, look at the inauguration ceremony. Okay, he didn't put his hand on a Bible. He had no intention of honoring that oath. He was pretending. I say that the United States, right now, while we're having this conversation, is already a dictatorship. Donald Trump knows how to do this. He knows courts, right? He's just going ahead and doing his dictatorial stuff and waiting for somebody to challenge him on it in court. Once he gets it in court, he can delay this stuff for years. And years from now, he will be solidified as the dictator. I say it's too late. I mean, it's already done.
I would
Well,
like to concur with you about everything except one word. Everything you said is true except one word: democracy. Let me point out, if the United States was a democracy, Al Gore would have won with the popular vote. Hillary Clinton would have won with the popular vote. There wouldn't be a Donald Trump. The United States is not a democracy, and that is the problem. It's a republic. So it goes state by state by state, which totally wipes out the popular vote.
It's a
That's the one
representative
one thing that
democratic.
I disagree with you using a word democracy in regards to the United States, because it is not a democracy.
It is a representative democracy.
It's a republic.
well, same thing.
Well, it's also a
No,
republic.
it's not the same thing.
A
Learn
representative,
politics, learn it. It's not the same
right?
thing.
The fact is we have to live with what we have going on now. Now we can take, we can stand on the sidelines and throw big bats. We can sit there and throw our arms up in the air and say there's nothing we can do about it. It is what it is, and it ain't going to change. I don't buy either of those positions. I believe that there is still time to save this country, to save our republic, whatever. But it's only going to happen when people get into it. Now the question is, what is going to get people up in arms enough to do it? Well, let's wait and see what happens. Trump may very well be destroying this country's economy. And remember, it was the economy is what elected Trump. It was the inflation under Joe Biden and this kind of stuff, which he got down. He got down, but it was still the inflation, the economy. That was the number one issue in everybody's people's mind. It's like what it's like Clinton said many years ago. It's the economy, stupid, and it's still the economy. Now, if Trump really wrecks this country, if we go into a recession, if we go into stagflation, if there's unemployment starts rising up, and then people are going to rise up in opposition to him and opposition to the Republicans. If it doesn't happen, if they actually if they turn the economy around and it starts growing again, and people are having jobs and all this kind of stuff, well, then they're probably going to stay in power. And you're right to throw your arms up and say nothing's going to happen. But I don't think so. I
Okay.
think that
So then the
Trump
United
has
States
his.
is just a
I think.
business. All
Wait a
that
minute,
matters
Sam.
is money.
Let me finish, please. I think Trump is with his tariffs and his economic policies and all this kind of is going to wreck the economy, not of just country, but of the world. And we're going to be
There's
paying
no
that
question
price,
about that.
and we're going to be paying that price. And I think when the elections come around, and I could say I misspoke when I said Democrats could take control in 2026. We're going to have to work towards 2026 and try to take over control of Congress. If we can take over control of Congress again, then we can stop everything he's doing and start the reversal. But it's not going to happen. It's not going to happen unless we keep working at it. And I believe that even though I certainly agree with what Sam is saying, it's the Democrats have been very disappointing. When they sit there and when the Schumer went and bought this thing that bailed out the Republicans with the budget thing, and
Oh,
and,
that was
and
horrible.
yeah, and the other things they have no backbone. But if we do, there are those of us involved that are going to try to build that backbone back up, and we're not going to build it up if we don't get in there and we don't work to do that. Otherwise, if we don't get in there and work, then we have given up, and Trump will win. And I'm not going to let him win without a fight.
I hope I
That's what
haven't
it
given
boils down to.
anybody I hope I haven't given anybody the impression that I'm giving up and throwing my hands up. Of course not. What I'm saying is that I believe that we are living in a fascist dictatorship right now, and we can take back the government. It's going to
Ah,
take a backbone on behalf of everybody. I'm not going to stop. I'm definitely on this mission because I think that we should be a democracy. We were intended to be a representative democratic republic, and
I
that's
don't
what
like
I
it.
want to see happen.
I don't like it. I don't like it. A democracy is a democracy. We should have had Hillary Clinton and Al Gore as president
well,
because they won the popular vote.
I
That's
agree
unfortunately,
with you on
democracy.
that, Sam. I
unfortunately, we
agree.
don't.
That's democracy. That's
Unfortunately, we
democracy.
that's democracy, and we don't have a democracy. We have a republic, and we're going to have.
Now,
But a republic. Remember that the overall thing here is whether republic or democracy. It is freedom. It is liberty, and both a republic and a democracy are founded on the ideals that people should be free. They should have liberty to say what they want, do what they want, be what they want. Whether it's,
within the
it's whether
confines of law,
whether it's a Republican form of
within
government.
the confines of
I mean,
law, and
yes,
and
of
Trump
course.
has no respect for the rule of law.
I'm not.
He's
Yes,
attacking it.
That's
you're right.
He's
He has no
attacking.
respect, but we're not going to. But
you see,
it's not. We're not going to stop him if we
the
don't
system
work against
always
him.
relied on the honor of a president to have respect for the rule of law. And this is the flaw. It was never litigated, it was never legislated because every other president had the honor and dignity to respect the rule of law. Now,
That's true.
yes, here's the advantage of getting Trump out. In 4 years, whoever comes into office is going to be able to totally reorganize the federal government. However, they have to have a message. And Lanny, what you just said about the last election, I have to contend with. All of the polling, the post election polling, show that, first of all, the Dems did not have a clear message. And we know why, because Biden and then Harris coming in late and not having a real primary, et cetera, et cetera. Okay. But what they lost on, Lanny, they had the strongest issue of abortion. Why did they lose on abortion? Because the Republicans, in their worst, in their worst punch forward, used the transgender issue to batter the heads of middle of the road people and right wing people into voting against Harris. Now that's what they did, Lanny.
Oh,
It
I
was a
agree.
transgender
I
issue.
I
Otherwise, abortion should have killed the Republicans.
I no no I agree totally that they used the transgender issue. I
It
pointed
wasn't
out.
the economy. We had a
I
fine
no, no,
economy
wait,
under
no,
Biden,
no, that isn't what people were saying. Polling were saying the economy was bad,
but
and that
that's
was
because they
that was the
bought the laws. I
that was
don't,
the Sam, that was the number one issue. Now,
no.
did the Democrats blow the how well that Biden had addressed the economy? Yes, they did. They didn't talk about it very much, and that was a problem. But the abortion issue and remember the Republicans spent almost a quarter of a billion dollars on the trans issue in the transition in the states
Correct.
that
Correct.
that were up for grabs.
And another
And
huge
and,
mistake the
and that was
Democrats made,
and the
another huge mistake, they let Trump take credit for Obama's economy. Trump inherited a tremendous economy under Obama, and yet he
Right.
took credit for it. And in this last election, the Democrats never hammered that issue.
and that's right. That was the messaging that was really poor, and that's what we've got to take over, and
Now,
we've got to
here
get the
we can
messaging right.
sit,
And
just the three or four of us on a local radio show and figure this
we're
stuff
not
out. Why the
Sam,
hell can't those idiots in D.C. and Sacramento figure this out and get it
Sam,
right?
Sam, the idiots in Sacramento and DC, we have to sit there and work to get that message to them and get them to start
I
speaking it.
did that for half a century.
And better yet, to get new people in there to start addressing it. And we're getting new people in there to address it. It's going to take work, it's going to take effort, and that's what some of us are doing, and that's what we're going to continue to do. We're going to get the people like AOC, like Sanders, Cory Booker. We're going to get these people
Oh, I
out
love Cory
there and
Booker.
that we're going to get these people to be the voice of the Democratic Party. And when the people
I
hear
hope
these
so.
people speak, when these people then win. But it's not going to happen. It's not going to happen if we don't work at it. And by golly, I work hard in the RC Riverside County Democratic Party to promote Democrats, and we have Democrats across the country working hard to do that. And it's the only as far as I'm concerned, is the only option. There is no other thing. There is no other things we can do to turn this around except to work within the Democratic Party and to do the same thing the right wing Christian Republicans did. You know, the Republican Party wasn't like this 10, 15 years ago. They've been working hard for year after year after year to take control of the party. And
Whoa,
they succeeded.
hold on, Lanny. Historically, you're incorrect. It all began with Reagan.
Yeah, all right, that's yeah, sure.
Nixon,
We get all right.
Nixon.
They've
That's
been
40 years ago.
all right, for whatever it is, they worked a long time to get where they are at now. And even though they had a lot of setbacks, they didn't give up. They kept working, they kept working, they kept working. And by golly, when the time came, they were there to grab the power. And that's what we have to do. We have to work as hard as they did, and hopefully it won't take as long to get back into power as it took for them to do it. We might,
Well,
and I think we could do it. I think if the economy keeps tanking like it is doing, and you seem to feel it will too, when 2026 comes along, we should be able to take over the Congress again. But once again, we have to have the right people running, and we got to have the right message out there. And it's only going to have the right people running, and we're only going to have the right message out there if people like me and Linda and other people are in there seeing to it that that's the message that's getting out there, and the right people running. I'm with in the Riverside County Democratic Party. You cannot grieve how progressive this particular party is, and the people there stand that they want the message changed, and they're working to get the message changed, and they're working to get the right people put out there. But they're working in the
it's
trenches, and that's what we have to do. Work in the trenches, and we can change things.
This really
but I
was
don't. California is
a
not the
battle.
problem, Lanny. The other states, all of those red states in middle America and southeast America are the problem.
Well, we there's Democrats in those states too. If the economy really goes sour, I think people will be listening to them. I really do. If the
I
economy,
think in
that's
this,
it. That's yes. Go ahead, Gregory.
I think in this election, the Republicans won the messaging war, and they did it with propaganda. They were just pounding away at this immigrants eating cats and dogs, and like you said, the trans issue, and the DEI and woke issues. They were controlling the message the whole time, and it really wouldn't have mattered what Democrats said, because I
Well,
mean,
the Democrats did right. When Kamala Harris was asked about the trans issues, she punted. She says, "I'll follow the law." That's all she said.
Right, right.
She didn't address the issue. She just
Mm.
punted on the issue. And I think
But then you go to the root of the problem was
Sam is
Biden was
absolutely
supposed to be
correct.
a one-term
Yeah,
president. He
that's
was.
right. That's right. Biden was
We should
supposed
have
to be a
had an
one-term
open
president.
primary 2 years ago,
That's
three
right.
years ago.
We could have gotten
I
the message
agree.
out there a lot better, and we made some serious mistakes. You know, just like
So
when you look,
Harris was
look
hamstrung to begin with. I mean, she
you,
was in
you,
an impossible situation.
well, yeah, and I mean, if we want to look back, we can look back when Hillary Clinton ran. You know, the Democrats did a lousy job of campaigning. She never went to Michigan. She never went to Wisconsin. The swing states, the Democrats ignored. They really thought they were
Yeah,
going
but
to
so
win and would
what? She
not do
won the
anything.
popular vote, and if this is a democracy, she'd be president.
Yeah, but
But
if
what
she had,
really killed her
but
was
she
Huma Abedin and Anthony Weiner.
if she had gone to Michigan, if she had gone to Wisconsin and campaigned there heavily and ignored Texas, she spent a lot of time in Texas. If she had gone to those states and had campaigned there, remember the law, it was 80,000 votes, 80,000 votes in those swing states. If 80,000 votes had gone to Clinton instead of to Trump, she would have won. But
I
they just took those states for granted. You
I don't
don't
agree.
take
I don't think
anything
that
for
would have
granted.
mattered. What
Oh, I
mattered
think it would
was
have.
that 3 weeks before the election, there was an investigation into her emails because Huma Abedin didn't spend $40 on a little printer and instead used Weiner's computer. And when Weiner was accused of, of sexual acts with a minor, his computer had to go to the FBI to be researched, and they found Clinton's emails there. It all came down to Huma Abedin and
Well, I
Anthony Weiner.
maybe it did. I don't.
Uh,
I think the
I
failure
wrote a
to.
book about
I
it. I
think.
couldn't get
I
it
think.
published.
I think the failure to campaign in the swing states was the major reason
But again, you go back to democracy versus republic. Why should one little state be the
Oh, hey,
decider
you,
over a 7 million vote difference?
that absolutely correct, but that's the way it is, Sam.
Well,
That's the way
change
it
it
is.
because
Well, you no,
every other democratic country throughout this world has learned from the United States mistakes, and they
you are
have
not.
parliamentarian
Unfortunately, you're
governments
not
that
going to
function
change.
so much better for their own people than the
Sam,
United States
you
does.
see, this is the things that you throw out these impossible things. Well, change the electoral college. Get it out of the U.S. Constitution.
Okay,
It's
I
here's the
not
agree.
point.
that simple, Sam. You know how difficult it is to
Whoever
change.
comes in as the next president is going to have the opportunity to
Well, what
completely
I want to
reorganize
see,
the
what
United
I
States
want to see,
government,
what I
including
want,
the Constitution.
Sam, what I want to see, Sam, is if the Congress is taken over by the Democrats in 2026, I want to see them pack the Supreme Court. I want to see them increase to 13 justices on the Supreme Court.
You
That's what
can't
we're
do
going to
that
see.
without a president to nominate people. It doesn't.
That's
Government doesn't work that way.
well,
President
if
has to nominate.
yeah, what if well, first you got to get it so they can nominate it, and then you can just pull. I guess if President Trump is still in office, you just have to do what McConnell did and refuse to allow anybody to be
Yeah,
chosen until
yeah,
the
they can
next
do that.
president is in that. That's what they can do. But
They can stonewall
so
it so
that's that,
no new appointments get
right. So
approved.
that's why I want one of the things I want to see if the Democrats could take control of Congress in
But I'll
2026,
tell you,
and I believe they
It's
I
going to
don't
can.
know
have to
that
be
you've
a
been
super
watching.
majority.
What's Gregory?
What?
It's going to have to be a super majority. And if we get a super majority in both houses of Congress in 2026, there will be an impeachment and Donald Trump will be convicted.
All right, that's the next. That's what I was going to mention. And here is a big problem. That will ignite a violent civil war. Yeah, you think January 6th
There's,
of
there's more of us
2001?
than there are of them.
Well, even if they don't
Okay,
impeach
then
him,
I ask you, do you
they're going
have
to
a
neuter
gun?
him.
Do you
They're going
own
to
a gun?
they're going to
No, but I
neuter
know
Trump.
people who do.
Yeah,
Well,
don't
I do
know.
too, and I know I realize that, but that's what I'm saying. No, there's not more of us than than there are them because we are a peaceful group. We don't want to go out and fight in the streets with guns, and they do. So
They shouldn't
what's the
be able to
result?
take over a country because of it. I'm
Oh
saying
God,
there's more of
you
us than there
use the
are of
word
them.
shouldn't. Let's deal with what's reality, not what should or could be, but what is reality. What is the solution to this then?
The
If
solution
if
the solution is to
if
take over in 2026 and neuter Trump. Neuter him
that's
so
not the point.
he can't do
Look
anything.
at the scenario. Give me the scenario. Say Congress, we get enough of a majority in Congress to do the impeachment, and then we get enough of a majority in Senate to vote for the impeachment.
It's not going
Trump
to
is
happen.
supposed to leave office. Now, what are you going to do?
No, it's Sam. It's
Send the military in to take him away?
no. It's listen. It's not going to happen.
He's not going to go.
We're not going to impeach. We will not have a super majority in Congress to be able to impeach Trump. It's just not going to happen.
You don't have
And
to have a super majority. You have to have a majority.
to
A
impeach,
supermajority
no,
would take it
no.
would
To
take a
impeach,
supermajority to change the Constitution. It
no.
takes a
If you
majority
no
to
to
sixty
impeach a
percent.
president, you need what 60% of the U.S. Senate.
Correct.
All right, so
Correct.
that's a
But what
super
I'm saying
majority.
is,
That's a super
let's just
majority.
give us that scenario. Let's say we've got 60% Democrats in Congress, 60% Senate. They impeach him and convict him. Who's going to get him out of the White House? He's not going to leave. You think January
That I
6th
agree
was
with.
bad? Do you think January 6th was bad? That was only 20,000. There'll be 200, 300,000 at the White House to defend Trump and
Let's
keep him there.
Well, that's an interesting
That's
thing because
civil war.
so let's say we don't impeach him and we have the election in 2028 and he refuses to leave the office. Even if he wasn't running, he can sit there and say I'm not leaving office. I'm still the
No,
commander in
that's
chief.
different. That's different.
Why? Why is it different? He's the same thing. He's flouting and says, I'm here and I'm still the president of the United States. And here's the thing that's very, very scary.
Because he won't
It,
be unless he runs for a third term and
no,
wins. He
no,
won't.
here's the thing that's scary is that Trump is supported by almost every single police officers union and police officers organization in the country. They support him.
Well, Lanny,
And
they may have supported his election, but they won't support him staying in the White House in violation of law.
well, you
The
think
law
so?
enforcement officers are supposed to uphold the law. So they
Well,
like Trump because he's a mean son of a bitch about immigrants and criminals. But if
all
he's
right.
going to violate the law,
Then we
they
don't have
won't.
anything. We don't have anything to worry about because then if he gets impeached, then we'll get the army to go in there and take him out. He's been
Well,
impeached.
theoretically,
So,
that's what it would require.
all right, so
And
that's what happened.
that then is going to, then the
But the
army is
thing
going
is,
to confront a
we're
crowd
not
of 200,000, and we're in civil war.
but we're not going to have a super majority in Congress to do that. We hopefully will have enough of a majority to neuter everything he's doing and set the stage for 2028 when we elect a new president. And
I think
It's
you
going to
that's
take
what
more than hope.
I think you
what
underestimate the voters. I think that there are definitely enough people who hate Trump that they will vote against Republicans.
Well,
yeah, we got to remember there's always
why
it,
then do 40% of the eligible voting citizens of the United States not vote at all? Do you know
that's
that in Ecuador it is mandated everybody has to vote or they pay a fine?
that's always been a big problem so many people in this country don't vote, and maybe if these people, if the economy gets bad enough, and we think it's going to, that they will sit there and get out and vote because they want to change
Here's the
things.
thing. There are more people who don't vote than Republicans who vote, and there are more people who don't vote than Democrats who vote. So essentially, that third group is a larger number of people than either the Republicans or the Democrats.
Well, they compose. There's Democrats and Republicans that don't vote. That's part of that group. There's people also. There's a very large number
Oh
of
no,
people that are.
let me back up. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I mean people who are registered, who are registered and who are not registered. People who are qualified to vote and don't even register, as well as those who register, decline to state, or are independent, away from the Democrats or Republicans.
Yeah, and
Because
that's a
Donald
very
Trump has made this environment so toxic that it is turning legitimate voters away. He's made it so toxic.
well.
No, you go back to Nixon for that. You go back to Nixon for that, where the largest, where the people, where that group of voters really started gaining numbers and has been gaining numbers ever since was Nixon.
Well, Nixon was used a racist policy, and is
Well,
the country still
my point is,
racist?
let's
Yes,
take California for example. The Republican Party is now a third party status because the second largest group of voters are declined to state and independents. Are you aware of that?
yes.
Yeah.
So that says even people who are registering to vote are more disenchanted with both parties than they are
Well, they're
leaning
not.
either one.
No, there's
This is
still.
hopefully where people like AOC and Bernie Sanders can appeal to. But that
First
means
of all,
they got to come out of the closet, out of the
first
shadows, and actually vote.
First of
How
all,
do you get them to
Sam,
vote?
first of all, Sam, when you take the number of Republicans and the number of Democrats in the state of California and put them together, they outnumber the number of independents. The number of
That's
Democrats
not the point.
outnumber.
The point
Wait,
is
let me no. The point.
the
Wait,
fastest
listen,
growing
Sam.
group
Sam,
of
would you let me
voters is
finish?
independent or
Would you
declined
let
to
me?
state.
Would you let me finish, please? When you take the number of independents is smaller than the number of Democrats. So, and it's smaller than when you put Democrats, and although the number of Republicans is smaller than the number of independents, there are still more people registered to a political party than are not registered to a political party. Now, that means that the independents are still a very, very important vote, and they are, I guess you might, are the proverbial swing vote. They're going to vote based on what candidate they think is going to address their concerns the most. And I believe that the Democrats will achieve that position once again. They didn't in 2024, obviously, but I believe they will achieve that position again in 2026 because a lot of these people, independents, are getting very sick and tired of Donald Trump and all his rhetoric and all his mean spiritedness and his going dressed as a pope and all this kind of
Okay,
great
Lenny,
stuff.
I'm looking at the statistics. I'm going to tell you what they are. No party preference, 4.9 million, and other 1.5 million. That together is 6.4 million. There are Republicans, there are 5.2 million.
And how many Democrats?
That's 10 million. We don't have any
What?
argument about Democrats
All
being
right.
number
So,
one.
so
My
the
point
number of
is no
people
party and other is number two. Republican
in
is number three in the state of California.
that's right. That's how poorly the Republicans are doing in this country, in this state,
True,
and
true.
that's
But what I'm trying
and,
to say here
and
is that for
so
the
these
past
people,
25 years, the fastest growing group of voters are no party and other.
that's right. And the Democrats and the Republicans are both trying to get those people. And I believe
And
that the
they're
Democrats
losing.
and
My point
Sam,
is
would you
they're
let me?
losing.
Sam,
You
would you
need a
stop
completely
interrupting?
different
Sam,
message
would
than
you
the
stop
Democrats and the
interrupt?
Republicans
Sam,
are
would you
presenting
stop
in order
interrupt?
to get those people to vote.
Sam, stop interrupting me. Let me finish my statement before you jump in. Could you do that?
Go ahead.
Thank you. Now, it's the largest, this big pool of independents still is not, like I said, there's still more people register for political parties than isn't. But this independent pool is a pool that looking for which people, which candidates are addressing their concerns. And I believe that the Democrats can address their concerns better than the Republicans can. They didn't in 2024 because, as Gregory pointed out, the messaging, and as you pointed out too, and I pointed out, the messaging was very poor in the Democrats. And we've got to, once the economy, if the economy, which we talked about transsexuals and we talked about abortion and all this kind of stuff. Yes, those are very important issues, but still, people are going to be voting their pocketbook number one. And if the economy is in the dumps, the Democrats, with a good messaging on the economy, with good messaging on the issue, on the cultural issues like abortion, and LGBT rights. Most people believe that in same-sex marriage now. So the Democrats are posed to take this back, but only, once again I say, if we move this group of independents. This group of independents is a group that will sway either way, and I believe the Democrats can sway them fairly easily to their way. Most of the independents are, they want to see health care. They want to, that's very important to them. They want to see child care. They want to see good schools. And the Democrats are the ones that will deliver on that issue. And I believe if they do it properly, they will succeed. And this is why I am confident for 2026, but only confident is if the economy continues to do poorly. If the Republicans turn the economy around and everything's going good and is good, and if they have the economy in 2026 that Biden had at the end of his time as a president, we're going to have a hard time. But I don't think they will. I think things are going to be even worse than they are now.
When I think about it, just imagine how much more voters are going to hate Donald Trump when 2026 comes around, because we're about to go into a pretty bad stretch of politics and economy.
Yeah. And people are aware that when he sits there and I don't know, are people really aware? Donald Trump says, I don't believe I have to follow the Constitution, enforce the Constitution. Do people hear
He
that? Do you
has the
think they hear
lowest
that?
ratings of any president after 100 days in the
Yeah,
history of polls.
that's true. That's true. And the question is, will it continue? You can't. I guess the old Abraham Lincoln saying, if it really is a tribute to him, you can fool some of the people all the time. You can fool all the people some of the time, but you can't fool all the people all the time. And we'll see if that's true, because that's what Trump is doing. He is pulling the wool over a lot of people's eyes, and some people, they don't want to be. They'll never see the light. But I think we can, and that's what we're working for. Hey, Linda
Well,
or Chris, are either of you still on the line? Either of you here? They gave up. I'm so embarrassed. I'm going to call them up. I have to call them and apologize. But we had that problem with the echo, and when they went off the line, we solved that problem with the echo. So, Eric, I've got to have
the,
to talk to you about that, so we don't have this echo problem. Especially next week. Next week we're going to have a trial run. Last week we were supposed to have William. I can't think of his last name. Sam, what's his last name? Um,
hey, geez, you got to ask me that. My 73-year-old. Call her on.
Yeah, Calderon. And we're going to do a run through and see if we can get him back on next week. And I hope you'll be able to tune in next week, because he's got a fascinating story to tell about how the narco state of Colombia has been turned into one of the most progressive cannabis states in all of South America, leading the way for what other countries should be able to do. And he was part of that, and we're hopefully we can get him back on next week and get some of these new technical problems solved, because I've had a chance to talk with him a little bit, and we've emailed back and forth. He's a fascinating individual, and and to do what he's doing in a country like Colombia, which was so polarized, not terrorized by the American war on drugs and the civil war between the FARC and the government and this kind of stuff, and using drug war money and stuff to be able to wage the war. The country was terrible, and it's coming back. Essentially, it's like the phoenix rising out of the ashes. It's an amazing country, and we'll be able to hear more about. Hopefully, we'll get him on next week, and you can learn all about the things that are happening there with that. So we are beginning to run a little low on time here. We only have a few more minutes left. Eric is messaging me now. Hey, Lanny, pay attention. You're running out of time here. So, does anybody have anything, kind of last statement you'd like to leave our listeners with? Sam, do you have something you'd like to?
Yes,
Please,
yes,
please tell
yes.
us.
I worked for the Democrats over and over. When they gained power, they should have been more progressive. Instead, they just wanted to manage the status quo, which meant getting reelected. That means there's no difference between them and the Republicans. And eventually, time ran out. You look at the most recent elections in president, people voted for change. They voted for Obama for change. Then they voted for Trump for change. Then they voted for Biden to change from Trump. Then they voted for Trump to change from Biden. And neither the Democrats don't recognize this. So the Democrats get in power. They just want to establish a status quo and get reelected. They don't want to make any real change. And that's why they're out of power.
Sam, yeah, I agree with you absolutely. Every single thing you said, right down the line, what you just said. One, two, three, four, five, six. You are right on target. The only question that we differ on, I think, is what do we do about it? How do we change it? How do we make it better? My solution is to work within the only party that has the power or the ability to have the power to try to change it, and that's what I'm doing. I'm not giving
I
up on the
understand.
Democrats.
I understand.
I am trying to take over me and tens of hundreds of thousands,
I
millions of
understand.
other Democrats are trying to change the party so we can address the very same issues that you were talking about.
I
If we
totally
don't
agree.
do it,
The only difference is I spent more than 50 years of my life doing that. And in the end, we got Trump a second time and might get him a third time. And
I
that's the bottom line for me. That I don't want to trust any more Democrats except for AOC and Bernie Sanders.
yeah, and
Not
that's
anymore.
the thing.
I'd like to throw them all out. Well,
Sam,
there's the senator from Pennsylvania, the crazy guy. I love him. All right.
this Sam, you're 73. I'm 79. We are running out of time. I'm running out of time quicker than you are, but I'm still going to keep working on it because working with Riverside County Democratic Party, I'm amazed how many young people have come
No,
into
I
the
totally
party now.
dig it. I
A
fully understand.
few
But you
years ago,
you
a few
started
years
20
ago,
years ago, right?
a few years ago, the Democratic Party, Riverside County Democratic Party held its meeting. It was like a senior center, senior citizen. It was like everybody was white
Yeah,
hair
and
gold.
if they
It's
had
not
about
anymore.
if
It
they
is
had
not.
about 500,000 more like you, Lanny, we'd all be better off.
Maybe so, but we need more people, younger people, and we're seeing that, and we've got to encourage them to get here. Gregory, we're running out of time. You got any
Have a look.
last statement?
Have a look at my piece on YouTube. It's called the revolution is being televised. I think there's some important stuff in there that I think everybody should know about, and it's on YouTube. The View from Out Here.
The view from out here, and
Yep,
where can we find that?
on YouTube.
On YouTube. And so you go to YouTube, and what do you put in? You just put the view from out
The View
here,
from Out Here, and
and
the first one that should come up is the one that I just posted, and that
okay.
was the revolution is being televised. It's just not what we thought it was.
Okay, well then I'm gonna do that myself. The view from out here. I'm gonna check that out, and I encourage everybody else to check that out as well. Hey, listen, folks, we're going to be running out of time, and I just want to let you know if you'd like to get more information from me, drop me a line. Send an email to rnlanny, rnlanny at AOL.com. Yeah, AOL.com. I'll put you on my little every now and then email list, and you'll get some notices from me and this kind of stuff, and you'll get those incorrect messages like I sent. But if I send out an incorrect message, the next thing I'm going to do right away is send out the a correction